from the factory. That's, you know, the big mistake with a lot of old cars is people get them restored, and they're nothing like what they were back in the day. But when you find an original car that's 50 years old, I mean, if you find a nice 58 Cadillac, oh my God, that thing drives like a modern car, at least on a smooth road, you know. Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. The car we're featuring today, a 1954 Corvette. I believe the very first production 1954 Corvette, but we'll find out about that in just a minute. This, of course, was considered America's first sports car. A lot of people debate, well, how about this? But I think it's fair to say. 1953 was the premier year. They only built a few cars. We'll find out how many. So this is the first real production year. This car has won just about every award you can get in the Corvette world. Let's meet the gentleman who owns it and restored it. He's done a few cars for me. I got my 57 Corvette from him. He was really helpful in restoring my 63 split window. Mike McCluskey. Mike, come in. Mike, of course, Vietnam veteran, fighter pilot as well. What jets did you fly, the Phantom?
F-4 Phantom for the Navy.
F-4 Phantom Navy. So you got a real hero here. And American guy, American car, doesn't get more American than this. So very good. Thank you for your service. We tease Mike all the time, but we do thank him for his service. So tell us about this car. This car has been restored. You see, it says National Corvette Restorer Society on here, and they're about as nitpicky as you can get, isn't it?
They're crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why if the car looks a little off, it's because it was a little off from the factory. It sits low at the back. I said to Mike, the springs, they need to be rearched. He said, no, that's the way they came because they wanted the car to look like it was taking off, which seems ridiculous to me. But yeah.
It was 1954.
Yeah. Now, where did you find it?
I found it in a backyard. One of my dear friends in the NCRS passed away, and this car was in his backyard, and his wife told me it was available. It had been outside for 35 years. And we drug it out of his backyard with a chain and into a trailer, and the rest is history. I spent 3 years on the car. Well,
that's a great thing about fiberglass, because I've got a Daimler Dart over there, my SP250. That body had been outside in upstate New York for 30, 40 years, and get a little sandpaper, and you're fine. I mean,
can be.
That's right, being fine. And this is a pretty good grade of fiberglass, wasn't it, by this point?
It was. They were using matte. The first year, the handmade ones in '53, they used cloth, and it shows through the gel coat.
Right.
But this car, they used matte. It comes out, finishes up nice.
And this car, of course, had the Blue Flame 6, the 6-cylinder engine out of the Bel Air and the production Chevrolet. But the engine was modified, correct?
Yes, they put 3 single side draft carburetors on it. They added a second exhaust for dual exhaust, and they put a solid lifter camshaft in it with a little more lift and duration.
So what kind of horsepower was it putting out?
They rated it at 155.
Well, that wasn't bad for 53, was it? That was
54, yeah.
I mean, 54. I mean, that was normal. I mean, that was for a sports car. I mean, MGs were what, 58 horsepower, 70 horsepower?
Yeah, it was very competitive. On the world's market, they rated it as the #6 sports car. So.
Right, right. Now, the first couple of years of Corvette were not successful. They were almost canceled, right?
Well, they only sold 700 of them with a V8 engine.
Wow.
Because it was a dog. It made no horsepower. It still had that cast iron 2-speed transmission. Everything was wrong.
Right.
And fortunately, somebody got a hold of Zora Duntov and said, what can we do to save this car? And he saved it in '56.
Now, this car was on the cover of the Corvette Restorers magazine, and it looks like he won just about every trophy. The Duntov Award is the top of the Corvette line, right?
It's named after Zora Duntov, the Russian designer for General Motors. And I have 5 of them, but the other 4 are for 4 other cars.
Right.
You can only get 1 per car.
People sometimes think restoring something means making it as perfect and unbelievable as could be, but under Corvette rules, it's making it exactly as it left the factory.
Exactly.
The chalk marks on the block.
All of that.
All of that. And that's got to be just...
Well, and they're so neurotic that they will deduct for over-restoration. You do something too nice, it's a deduction.
Right, right. Like there are a couple of places where you can see the white is, what's the word? Matted, kind of.
It's not the polished sheen that you'd see in a
production car.
Clear-coated car. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the way it left the factory.
That's what they want to see. They love this paint job.
And do you have to have this color mixed special? Is it the same? So obviously paints have changed over the years.
Well, originally they were lacquer.
Right.
And they will allow us to use an epoxy paint.
Right.
But it's still in the computer. It's called Polo White, and they can bring it up and mix the right color. It's what they call an eggshell white. It's not pure white.
Now, in '54, were there other colors available or just white?
They were right at the end of production. They did a few blue cars and a few red cars. And they claim they made a couple, maybe 3 black cars.
Right.
But they made 3,600 of these cars, and they're virtually all white.
With the red interior and and no power steering or power brake.
Oh, no. Steering by Armstrong.
Yeah. And this curved piece of glass, that was somewhat revolutionary for '54, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. They bent some glass in '53, but again, they could only bend glass in one direction. They couldn't bend it in 2 directions.
Well, that looks kind of cool. I give them that.
There's a bug in this corner that has the original date code because that is the original glass.
Oh, this is the original glass from the, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. And that's what they do. Can you have a windshield made and put the original numbers in it, or that doesn't?
There's guys that do that.
You lose points for that?
Well, there's a company that does this acid etching date code.
Right.
And they buy up all the clear windows. So if you want one, you get a tinted glass, because if you're going to buy it from them and get the date code in it, you're going to pay about $600.
And of course, drum brakes all the way around. Everything is production Chevrolet. Okay. And the top goes under here. Now I notice this doesn't fit quite but that's the way it was.
There's more top than space.
Right. Okay. And it has a trunk. Can we open the hood and see what the... Let's see that Blue Flame 6.
No door handles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I just... And this has plastic windows you pop in, right?
It does. The side curtains.
And where are those stored? In here?
They're in the trunk. We'll see them in a bit.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. That's 3 Carters. Are those Carter carburetors?
One barrel side draft.
1 barrels. 3 1 barrels. That's hilarious.
It's grossly over carbureted.
And this has got to be a tough piece to find, this.
Very. Yeah.
With the air cleaners.
And they redesigned this air cleaner mid-year. The beginning of the year had 3 little bullet air cleaners. Those were just rock strainers.
Oh, okay.
So they came up with this dual setup in the middle of the year.
All right. Look how exacting that has to be. Every wire has to be the original color. It's got to be hooked exactly to the right terminal. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And that expansion chamber for the radiator, that's unique.
Yeah, just a little extra water to keep it cool.
Right. Did they use that piece at all on any other Chevrolet, or was that just for Corvette?
Just for Corvette, and just the first 2 years.
Oh, okay. Did these win any races? They have any competition history that was impressive?
A lot of people raced them.
Yeah.
E.I. DuPont had 3 of the 53s that he raced.
Okay.
They weren't real competitive because they were a heavy car with a 2-speed transmission.
Well, they raced against the SK120, which had a 4-speed.
I'm sure they did.
And even that Talbot Lago, that was 4.5 liter 6, and that had 220 horsepower with a 4-speed transmission. So this really would not have been particularly competitive.
They rated it 155. The decal says 150. Explain that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. And of course, no accessories of any kind. Generator. Now, would you lose points if you had a dual master on here?
Oh, yeah.
You say...
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be corrected. It's got to have all of this numbers on it and all. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
But one thing they did have to do to make this engine fit in this car was they had to lower the fan 4 inches so it wouldn't hit the hood.
Oh, I see.
So behind the water pump is an adapter that allows the water pump to go on 4 inches lower. And of course the exhaust is split, so it has dual exhaust.
Right. Now notice there's not a ton of chrome in here, and everything is blue. Now the headers, those should be blue, right? But with it's
they were painted blue originally.
And then that's just expected to burn off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now some of these cars had a chrome valve cover and a chrome side lifter cover. But there's no rhyme or reason to it. Some would have just a valve cover, some would have both, some would have none.
It came from the factory that way.
Well, they had some guy doing some chrome, and they put it on the cars when they had it.
But you know, that was interesting, because when the Mustang first came out, the first generation Mustang, 64 and a half, you had a lot of Falcon. Hand window cranks were off the Falcon.
Yeah.
Radio knobs were Falcon.
Yeah.
I mean, they just used what parts they had, and then the rest.
Oh yeah.
Once Mustang became Mustang, then everything, you know.
They did that with this. There's a lever that opens this cowl vent, and it's the handle that was the seat adjuster on a Chevy passenger car.
Oh, is that right? That's funny. All right, we can shut the hood again here.
Have to help it.
Right. Okay. Let's walk to the back here. Okay, because here's your gas cap right here. And your trunk. Where's the key for the trunk?
So in a bad place. In '56, they moved it up where it belonged.
Yeah, oh, so you have to get on your knees.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, wow, okay.
And my knees are getting old.
Now let me see, oh, you got a glass, plastic.
Plexiglass, yeah.
Plexiglass. Of course, that's illegal now to cover a license plate.
Yeah, but these cars were grandfathered in, so they allow it.
Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, it looks a little show car-y. I mean, from the back, it's really space age 50s, isn't it? I mean,
that was streamlining.
Little winglets here and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah. Let's open the trunk. Looks like a good-sized trunk.
It's big enough for what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good-sized trunk.
There's the side curtains for the windows.
Okay, so that's where you carry all those pop in. And
Spare
so you couldn't lock this car either, could you? No.
Well, even the side curtains have a little vent wing, and you can reach through the vent wing to open the knobs on the inside.
All right, so anybody can get in it. Okay. I love the exhaust coming through. That's sort of a GM thing at the period.
3 stages of the exhaust. The first ones were really short and put black soot all over the car.
Right.
So then they lengthened them a little better. And then they put a baffle inside them, so they're hollow on the bottom.
Oh.
And the black stuff goes down now.
Oh, okay.
Took 3 tries to get the exhaust right.
Very good, very good. And what is that handle? Oh, is that the jack?
Lug wrench.
Lug wrench,
and a jack handle.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The jack's inside the spare tire.
Very nice. And I'm curious, can we just open this up to see what it looks like? It's just a matter of pressing this button?
There you go.
Okay, oh, I see. Then the top comes up, and did they come in different color tops, or were they all tan?
They were all beige in '54, yes.
Yeah. You think black would have been a better color? The
53s had black. There were only 300 of those cars.
Right.
And they had a black top, and everybody thought it was ugly, so they changed the color.
And of course, you have to reproduce this sticker.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Now, you think this is the first true production Corvette, is that correct? This model here?
Not this particular car.
Oh, I see.
You got to kind of help it.
Okay.
Yeah, and this car was constantly upgraded during production.
Yeah.
There's 3 different versions, and they kept improving things. And then when they got to 3600, everybody had one that wanted one.
Right.
And they stopped production.
Now, you're selling this one, right?
Yes, I would like to sell it.
Okay, well, here's an email address if you're interested. The cool thing is, it's won every award. Nobody can get 100 points, right?
No, it's impossible.
It's impossible to get 100 points, because that would only be an original car back in the day. So how many points has this scored?
97. No, I'm sorry, 99. It had to score 97 to be the top award.
Right.
And it scored 99.
Wow, so, okay. So obviously you're getting something that's 100% correct.
As close as I could make it.
Yeah, no, that's great, that's great. Well, let's see the gauges and the dashboard from inside the car. It's a nice interior.
That's one thing you can still get is a nice interior.
Here we go. I think there's more room in this than in the Thunderbird. Okay. This is your radio speaker, right? I always liked the speedometer on the 140 mile an hour. That was pretty racy back in the day.
That was a dream.
Yeah, they keep dreaming. So what do we have here? This is...
Headlights.
Headlights.
Choke.
Choke, manual choke. And this one is Fan?
No, that's
blower.
That's probably a wiper. No, this is wiper, so that is heater and fan.
Right, wiper. This one is
Volume.
Oh, okay, that's a radio,
Tuning.
and that's cigarette lighter.
Yep.
Okay. And you got your tack right here, which is like the funniest place for tack.
The worst place.
Yeah, yeah. You got your clock, and what is this one? Oil, and is that water temperature?
That's battery.
A battery. Okay, okay. But kind of racy looking for the period back in the day. Not bad. Can we start her up? Let's see.
Sure, you got it in park.
Starts all right.
Gonna be hard to steer.
Nah, look at that.
Armstrong. You're clear over here.
You know, this is a nice cruising car. I mean, I don't think by any slip people give you a thumbs up.
I think you should have it.
Well, thanks, thanks. Well, somebody will buy it, I'm sure. Well, the nice thing about buying something like this is it's as good as it could ever be coming from the factory.
That's,
you know, the big mistake with a lot of old cars is people get them restored and they're nothing like what they were back in the day. It's not really that quiet, it's not that smooth. Why would anybody have bought this, you say to yourself? But when you find an original car that's 50 years old, I mean, if you find a nice 58 Cadillac, oh my God, that thing drives like a modern car, at least on a smooth road, you know.
Yeah, you got that beautiful 57. That blue one, what a beautiful car.
Yeah, it's almost done.
Well, you gotta love that throttle response, huh?
You know, whenever I drive an old car, I try to drive it as it would have been driven in the day against rivals of the day. There used to be a magazine called Special Interest Autos, which I liked because they would take an old car like this and would say, oh, it drives like a modern day Ford Falcon. And you go, oh, okay. Like I remember reading, they did a thing on my Mercer Raceabout. They said, and this was back in the 60s, said, it's about as fast as a 66 MGB. So that gave me a sense of really what it was like. Because when you read an old car magazine, they go, oh my God, this thing is fast. You get it and you go, it doesn't seem fast at all. But it was in the day.
Everything's relative.
Yeah, like my Maserati, that 350 GTI I have there. I was reading the road test on it from 62 from Road and Track. And the author of the article said, why anybody needs a car with 220 horsepower is beyond me. But since it has it, I'll take it. And he's talking about how fast it was. And really, it's about as fast as a two-barrel 289 Mustang, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I contend that something like this is probably more fun now than it was in the day, because in the day it wasn't really that fast. But now nobody expects it to be fast. They expect it to be beautiful and fun to drive and cool to look at, you know what I mean? Here we go. And that's a stock muffler, right?
That's two stock mufflers.
Two stock. I mean, that's what it sounded like, exactly what it sounded like in the day, right?
That's what they say, yeah.
Yeah. Now, where do you find stock mufflers? Do you have to have them made?
There's a place in Chicago called Corvette Central.
Yeah.
And they try and stock stuff that's as close to original as it can get.
Okay. Have there ever been any of these at a meet that were original, untouched, and gave 99 points, you know what I mean? Or is that impossible to do?
I've never seen a 99-point car besides this one.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Because we judge on both originality and condition.
Right.
And if you've got a nice original piece, they're going to deduct for condition because it's old and worn out.
Right, right.
You know, if you got an original battery, they're going to take a big hit for it being an old, nasty battery.
Right, right. But can't you take an original battery, go through the process and restore it?
There's a guy doing that.
And you have an original battery.
He's taken original appearing molds from Delco.
Right, right.
And making batteries out of them, but they don't live. They're good for about a year.
Right, right.
$500.
Right, right. Here we go. Now it's starting to feel Corvette-y.
Thank you.
of shift that on its own there. I mean, when this car came out, the automatic was a big deal.
I believe it was, yeah.
I mean, people thought, wow, that's pretty impressive.
And it took 400 pounds of cast iron to do it.
I know. And it really wasn't until the Chrysler Torque Flight of the 60s that an automatic was faster than a manual. I can remember reading a Road and Track. Torque Flight or Ford, which is faster? Question mark. Oh, come on. And then the Torque Flight was actually faster. It just seemed incredible to people.
Well, they say that dual clutch C8 is faster than you can manually shift.
Oh, yeah. Any dual clutch is, yeah. I mean, it certainly cruises nicely. And when you're a kid, you always think the car could go as fast as the speedometer. You know?
I remember that.
I remember one of my Miuras is a European model. The speedometer goes to 320, and kids would go, "This goes 320 miles an hour," you know.
And that was probably kilometers, wasn't it?
Yeah, kilometers, of course. Yeah, but.
Well, I've never been chauffeured around in my convertible before.
That was the first time someone else has driven it?
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, nobody's driven it but me.
But this is a real collector car you can use and enjoy.
This car, we didn't get it on the video we did before, but this was a movie car.
What movie was it in?
Mad World.
Oh, this is in Mad World? Oh, yeah?
If you watch that movie, it was just a drive-through car.
Yeah.
But you see it 7 different times, and it was painted gold.
Oh, that's funny.
When I got this car, it had 7 coats of paint on it.
Wow.
That's why the fiberglass survived.
Wow. And who
was
drove
in a bunch of movies.
Which star? Did one of the stars drive it? Or
No, it was just a drive-through.
Oh, okay.
But it was in several movies. That's the only one I know about because the guy that owned it died. So his wife told me that. And then when I watched the movie, I could see it.
That's funny.
It was painted red, blue, white, black, gold.
Right.
7 coats of paint.
Wow.
It took me 2 months to get the paint off of it.
It does feel kind of like a 2-seater Bel Air, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all Chevy suspension and everything, right? There's nothing trick in there, right? You can cruise at 70 all day in this thing.
I'd like to think it performs a little better than you expected.
Yeah. And the bias ply tires, boy. And you kind of wonder why they didn't make it in 53 and 54 with at least a 3-speed, either on the tree or on the floor.
Yeah, you didn't even get that till 56.
I know.
And then Duntov immediately put a 4-speed in it.
Right.
Well, we got the weather for this.
Yeah, that's why it's California. If you combine all our 3 ages, we are older than America. You, me, and this car.
Yeah. I was born in Washington, D.C.
Was that right? Yeah.
Well, both of my folks worked for the federal government when the war broke out.
That was the Civil War?
Everybody says Korea, and I remind them I was only 10.
Right. Well, the end of the tack is $5,000. So
Really?
red line must be around 4,200, huh?
Yeah, I think for the performance test, I had to hit 4,000.
Yeah.
That's easy to do in passing gear.
Yeah.
Which is the same as low gear.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So really, this is like second and third in a normal transmission, isn't it?
Yeah. You know the amazing thing about you open up one of these old cast iron transmissions, everything is perfect in that trans,
Yeah.
except for the discs, the friction discs.
Yeah.
But there's no worn teeth or anything. They're
Right.
like brand new.
Yeah, yeah. Now tell me about the driving testing part of getting something like the Duntov Award. What do you have to do?
Well, the judge gets in the car with you and
Right.
goes on a measured course. In this case, it was 12 miles.
Right.
And he verifies the accuracy of the speedometer, the odometer, the rev counter, the tachometer. He has you do a rapid braking in a parking lot from 40 miles an hour with your hands off the wheel,
Yeah.
and it has to brake straight ahead. It can't pull either direction.
Right, right.
He wants to see it upshift from low gear to high gear somewhere around 45 miles an hour.
Right.
He wants to see it downshift when you stop on the throttle below 40 miles an hour. It should go back into low.
Are they always the same judges?
No, but usually that is done at a regional meet, and so we have high-level judges. All the judges are rated different levels.
Well, you must have situations where you as a restorer know more than the judge. Have you had that happen?
Now, sometimes you have to explain that to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at what you're overlooking is so-and-so.
Right.
But in most cases, they listen pretty well.
Well, Mike, thank you very much. Another beautiful restoration. This one took longer than all your others. Why was that?
It was twice as hard to find parts.
Yeah, for 54, I imagine. Well, if you're interested in this car, it is for sale. It is a 99-point car. You never ever see those. It won the Duntov Award for Best Corvette. So it's got all original parts. You're not going to find one better. If you're interested in it, go to this website and, I don't know, make an offer. Check it out. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. And Mike, thanks again, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Jay. Enjoyed the ride.
See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.